Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for All About Android is provided by CacheFly at CacheFly.com.
This episode of All About Android is brought to you by Hulu Plus. Watch as many TV shows as you want, anytime, anywhere, on your devices, all streamed instantly to you. Visit huluplus.com/twit to start your free 2-week trial. That's huluplus.com/twit. And by 99 Designs, the world's largest online graphic design marketplace. 99 Designs connects businesses seeking quality, affordable designs with a community of 200,000 graphic designers. Visit 99designs.com/AAA to receive a free design consultation. That's 99designs.com/AAA. Hello and welcome once again to another episode of All About Android, episode 103, recorded on Tuesday, April 2nd, 2013. We are your weekly source for the latest news, hardware, and apps for the Android faithful. I'm Jason Howell.
I'm Ron Richards.
I'm Gina Trapani.
Hello and welcome back, folks. It's good to be back after last week's crazy episode.
It was a fun episode.
It was fun.
I got home and I was like, let's do another. I was amped. It was great.
You wanted to go all night with
That
Android
was some
news.
Android fun, man. That was good.
Yeah, it was good.
A good week.
That was good. Well, we're going to top it. And that's a promise. Now we've just set ourselves up. Great.
No, but I think we're going to top it. I think we got a little surprise later in the show.
I think we've got some ammo.
Yeah, we've got some stuff that should be impressive.
Excellent. One thing that's pretty impressive is our guest. How's that for a setup? John Figgis, associate editor of Engadget. John, it's great to have you on the show. You're always in the chat room, chatting along with everybody and watching the show. And I'm a big fan of your work at Engadget, so we're stoked to have you on.
Oh, gee, thanks. So it's nice to be here.
It's very nice to meet you. Very nice to have you here talking all about the Android stuff. This week, we've actually got some pretty cool stuff to talk about, discussing the Facebook phone, which at this point is pretty certain. We'll get into the details on that. Google's line in the sand that they're drawing on open source patents. Some cool Ouya stuff, the expansion of Google's knowledge graph on Android, and so much more. Just a lot of stuff to talk about this week, but let's get right into it with the news. And what month in Android world would be complete if we didn't talk a little bit about the numbers, the installation numbers of the different versions of the OS. We have the new numbers. And actually, John, you pointed something out that I completely missed when you emailed this story to me, that Google kind of changed how they're accounting for these numbers. What's different this time around?
Yeah, well, usually what they used to do is they just were checking for people who were pinging Google servers, which could mean like some Android phone that's sitting in the basement or something and just happens to have a connection. What they're actually doing now is they're actually checking people who are actually visiting Google Play. So this more closely reflects who's actually using their devices.
Okay.
So I mean, it's a case of a more accurate number.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely.
what I mean? Like, and you really can't argue that. I mean, of course, it's gonna, like you want to get the most accuracy in these numbers as possible, and they're gonna look for it. I mean, it kind of the challenge of these, kind of analytics and metrics and stuff like that, especially with digital stuff, is so difficult in terms of really nailing down this is the exact number of people that are using these devices or using your software or using whatever is a immense challenge, and it involves adjusting the way they count. So yeah, interesting.
I don't know that you could argue that this kind of is Google's way of skewing the numbers in their favor, right? So basically, they're saying this is just people who go to the Play Store and get apps, right? Yeah. That's what they're saying. And I mean, we've seen numbers where some people get stripped down Android phones, especially like the gingerbread variety, and just never buy apps, and those people just wouldn't be counted. The people who just use the browser and the dialer.
But I wonder how many. I'm sorry, Gina, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I wonder how many people aren't getting apps though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know, but this has been one of the things about iOS versus Android, right? There are Android users that don't ever get apps, right? Like those really kind of cheap, stripped down phones, people who just want the browser, and just kind of use the default apps. I don't know. I don't know if it's a significant number. I mean, these numbers that Google publishes are for developers, right? This is the Android developer site. So this is Google's way of guiding developers and saying, hey, these are the versions you should be developing for. So this makes sense that they would count just people going to the Play Store, right? Because people aren't going to get your app unless they go to the Play Store. At the same time, I'm a little bit like, this looks like a really good way to make it look like, to only represent the people who are purchasing apps.
Sure. And does the jump for Jelly Bean from 16.5% all the way up to 25% in 1 month? Do you think that maybe that big of, because that's a pretty large jump.
That is a large
in
jump,
1 month, especially considering it being Jelly Bean. Do you think that might be accounted for here with the kind of change in their accounting of these numbers? I don't know. Possibly.
That's got different math written all over it.
Yeah, right. It kind of does. I mean, it's a huge jump, and not, I don't think, what anybody would have expected. Although we expect that number to continually increase. There've been a lot more new devices releasing with Jelly Bean pre-installed. So.
And does it help? And of course, I mean, we know the answer to this question, but does it help their case to have a higher Jelly Bean number? Of course it does. So maybe we're getting some creative accounting and some creative math in there. But the question is that, like, and to Gina's point, if there are people with stripped down versions of Android phones that are just using the stock browser and the stock messaging app and treating it as if just a phone, are those value users? Are those users Google even cares about if they never go into the Google Play Store? So is it okay for them to be cut out of the population? Sure. Really, really interesting in terms of how you look at it. I mean, if anything, just further supports the, they're making the case you need to be developing on the latest and greatest because look how many people are using it. And this helps. This gets them there.
Sure. The other notable numbers, just to kind of round it out: ice cream sandwich 29.3%, gingerbread 39.8%. So and I think it was last month that gingerbread was surpassed by 4.0 and up, which was kind of a big deal, I think. So continues to kind of go in the way of better design, which is 4.0 and above. Yep. So regardless.
So, do you remember way back, you longtime viewers of All About Android, way back when the show first started? We covered we covered a lot of new phones and new things that came out, and there was a little thing called the HTC Status, which was the Facebook the Cha-Cha. Yeah. The Facebook integrated phone that was available on AT&T. And remember, it looked kind of like a BlackBerry, but had the Facebook button, and we wondered if it was going to take off or not, or if it was going to be the thing. Well,
I think we knew that it wasn't going to take off.
It didn't take off. But leave it to Facebook to not let a sleeping dog lie. Yeah. And they've announced an upcoming event on April 4th, which is just in a couple of days from now, where the kind of the tagline on the event is "Come see our new home on Android." And there's a lot of speculation that means possibly a branded phone by HTC called the Home, and also a kind of branded version of Android running on it. A whole bunch of rumors coming out of it. We took the folks over on Android Police have this kind of breakdown of the APK teardown exclusive, as they call it, which I laughed, which made me laugh. But they're saying that the Facebook app broken down and it now has a launcher. It looks like planning a Play Store release. A whole bunch of details coming out in this kind of APK release. Speculation as to whether or not it was a joke because it broke yesterday, but it doesn't look like it is a joke. But some indications that show launching functionality as well as integration to a Play Store and that sort of thing. Very, very interesting to see that go. And then on top of that, there's been a potential leaked photo that could be the HTC phone that would be called the Facebook Home device, the HTC First, which looks a lot like an iPhone. It does. If you take a look at that. So a lot of speculation, a lot of rumors kind of falling about it. What do we think? Do we think Facebook is going to come back to Android and come back with this branded phone experience?
I think all signs are kind of pointing in that way. I mean, Android Police always does a really great job of breaking down these APKs, and some of the kind of assumptions that they came through with are necessarily, not necessarily obviously fact. They're based on an APK that they have access to. It might be an earlier developer build, so there might be changes. But it was interesting because if it's an HTC device that has, the Facebook kind of launcher approach, whatever they call it, HTC or Facebook Home, whatever it's going to end up being called, built into it, this APK also has parts, the discovery of settings. Basically, its ability to read settings not only from HTC's launcher that this would conceivably be built on top of, but also the fact that it can read the stock Android launcher as well as TouchWiz launcher. Yep. And that kind of hints at the possibility that it wouldn't just be locked into a single device, either accessible through the Play Store and installing it on any device that you have so you can have the Facebook launcher, or different manufacturers all releasing their own version of a Facebook phone that this would tie into. But yeah, I mean, and the mention of home in their tease that kind of points to this.
And the thing is, the word home has got a whole bunch of different connotations, because say our new home on Android. So is this now they're building a home in the Android OS kind of experience? The home button,
right.
Like there are all these different connotations with home. So it should be super interesting. So, okay, so if all signs point to yes, John, do you think this is something that the market is going to want?
I'm not entirely convinced by that. I mean, I see a lot of people using Facebook all the time on, like, say, on the bus or what have you. But at the same time, wanting basically Facebook to dominate your entire phone experience or a large part of it, like, I don't know, because there are things I like to do on my phone that don't involve Facebook, like, phone calls and music and things like that. So it could get pretty annoying pretty quickly if Facebook is just constantly in your face while you're trying to use your device. So,
well, but then the same argument is made for Amazon and Kindle. The Kindle experience. There are people who live in Amazon, the Amazon ecosystem. I mean, I'm with you. I do a lot of stuff on my phone that's not just Facebook, but I know a lot of people who just live in Facebook, and the Facebook messaging, the Facebook chat. All their life is in Facebook, and that's millions of people. Is it enough to get them to go buy a phone? I don't know.
Yeah, it's based entirely around it. You're almost like a super fan at that point.
Yeah, but I mean, but right now I'm a super Google fan. You know what I mean? Like, totally. So, I mean, admittedly, there's more to be done there. I mean, it'll be interesting on how deep the integration Facebook goes and how locked down it is. I think that's the key thing. Will be,
Yeah. I think there's a market for this. I mean, I'm not it, because I just don't love Facebook, but I'm thinking about someone like my sister-in-law who basically just lives in Facebook. And think about all the things that Facebook has, right? They have all your contacts with phone numbers, presumably, right? There's Facebook messaging, which can replace text messaging. There's Spotify, right? Assume that they have some music streaming going on in there, so you can make phone calls. You can Facebook with your friends. There's probably going to be a browser. I'm curious to know whether or not the Play Store is going to be on this phone.
That's
probably, right? Yeah, and I mean, just a couple episodes ago, we covered how the Facebook app is now pushing updates through it, right? Like it's not going through the Play Store to get updates out to the app, right? It's just updating itself automatically. So that's kind of interesting. I mean, if this is a pretty affordable phone for a college student or for someone who's just really into Facebook and just, I've had family members say, like, I want to get a smartphone because I want to be able to check Facebook, when I'm not at my computer. So I don't know. I feel like there is a market for this.
I mean, it's interesting. So in the Android police, they say that it looks like from the APK teardown that they did, it looks like they're planning not only for it looks like it could be released in the Play Store. So if you were a Facebook superfan and you don't get the phone, you could download this and maybe replace your launcher with it. And so taking the idea of, instead of just saying you need to get the phone in order to do this could go to any Facebook superfan with any Android device. That's really interesting too, because then that's viral, that's spreadable.
Then why have a phone? Why have a hardware phone?
I think for the phone, I think they need they want a Halo device. They want something that can attract people. That said, I'm not sure if this phone, like the HTC First, as I like to call it, I'm not sure if that's actually going to be it, because, I mean, from all indications, it's a very strictly mid-range or maybe even entry-level kind of smartphone. And
totally.
that's not really a Halo device that would lure people in.
Yeah. But I mean, then again, big company, they've got a lot of money. We've seen a lot of celebrities and stuff like that holding phones. I mean, how much has the Galaxy Note been helped by LeBron James and the basketball players who have taken it on? So a couple of key celebrities holding the Facebook phone, holding the there's an F on it. That goes a long way, and you build something from there. I don't know. I don't know whether this will work or not. Clearly, they've already got one. I mean, is it safe to say that call the status a failure? I mean, I don't know how it's sold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So.
Yeah, I'm not going to mince words here. It's like it did, like from all indications, it didn't really sell that well. So.
Yeah. So they've got one failure under their belt. How many times? They're kind of going back to the well. They're going to keep going until they get it right.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I guess they're banking on the deep integration. All I have to say is the Facebook app, it better be better in a lot of ways than the Facebook app.
Everything we're hearing though is saying that
speed of updating and stuff, because that's but like my number one main complaint, and continues to be my main complaint with the Facebook app, is I go to use it and half the time it just gets stuck loading whatever the heck it's loading, and I'm over it.
Well, because
I don't want to check.
That's a huge problem, because I mean that's a development problem, because there's so much data in there, and it's low, and it's how the app, and Gina, you probably speak to this, how the app manages that download of data. Like a friend of mine has a photo album with like 500 photos, and I want to go find the 300th photo in there. It looks like it's downloading every photo as I'm going through that album.
Yeah,
There's got to be better ways to do it. And every indication we've had coming out of Facebook, both in the press and the rumors, as well as with people that we know that work inside the walls, like there's a renewed interest in Android at Facebook, and that takes time to come to fruition. This could be the first step. Maybe I got to imagine if they're planning a major Android release, they know they've got to have their act together.
Absolutely. Yeah, but they better.
This proves how little a fan I am of Facebook. I have the Facebook app on my phone. I haven't copied my password. Like I forgot my password, so I haven't logged in forever. But it looked like from that. I know. Like
that's
on
the
that,
perfect sign right
there. No password. Can't check Facebook. But I'll be interested to see if this integration involves signing into your phone with your Facebook credentials instead of your Google credentials.
Yeah, interesting.
If using the phone at all means being signed into Facebook, that you won't be able to use the phone the way that it is now with Google. And I'm interested to see what how this will integrate with Google as well, because in that APK teardown, there's a Google logo actually packaged in that APK. So it'll be interesting to see if there's a Google search that launches out of the Facebook app. That'll be surprising, right? Because you would expect it to be Bing.
Yeah, interesting. But maybe they know that they're on Android. They've got to play nice with Google somehow. So maybe there's some sort of deal that we don't know about yet, or something like that. So
who
knows? Interesting. Well, we'll keep 2 days. We'll know what happens, and I'm sure next week we'll be talking all about it, and we'll be analyzing it. So.
And speaking of Google says that they are taking a stand on open source and patents. Google posted on their open source blog something that they're calling the Open Patent Non-Assertion Pledge. So this is a pledge Google's taking. They're saying, in short and very simply, Google pledges not to sue any user, distributor, or developer of open source software on specified patents unless first attacked. Okay, so this is Google's way of saying we're only going to use our patents defensively, not offensively, but specifically for open source projects. And they've rolled out this pledge for 10 patents to begin with that have to do with MapReduce. And they said that they're going to expand this pledge to include other patents throughout the company and other entities controlled by Google, so like a Motorola. And they're hoping that this pledge, the OPN, I guess they're calling it for short, will serve as a model for other companies to say, you know what, we're not going to use our patents offensively. We're only going to use them defensively. I kind of like this. I like this as much as I liked when Twitter announced their IPA, which I remember really well because I like myself a good IPA. But it's not a beer. It's the it's the Innovators Patent Agreement. That was Twitter's kind of similar pledge to say, hey, if we ask you to patent something, if you're an employee here at Twitter and you patent something, you can have a say how that patent is used, and you can say this can never be used offensively to sue someone else. And Twitter also kind of said, hey, we want to make this a model for other companies. So you can see that these companies are trying to set a precedent and create a model and codify a way to say we're not going to attack one another offensively using patents. That's sort of the optimist view of it. The cynical view for me is like, it's interesting that this is just open source. It's interesting that it's just 10 particular patents. Google has always sort of vaguely said that they only use their patents defensively, but that actually hasn't been true, especially around sort of Motorola. There's some gray area around Motorola, like are they Google or are they not Google? So and also, it's like that whole unless first attacked. I mean, how do you define offensive use or defensive use? So if someone's always going to be suing Google, right, for a patent, someone always is, right? So they could always sort of justify using one of these patents defensively if they feel like that they're on the attack already. So it feels like a symbolic move. At the same time, patent wars are so tiresome and so expensive and take up so much bandwidth and squash innovation. I'd like to see big companies like Google try to start to codify kind of better practices around this.
Yeah, I feel completely the same way. It feels, I really appreciate what Google is doing here. But again, I'm kind of with you, Gina. I'm a little cynical about it. I wish that it applied to more companies, and I understand that's kind of part of what Google is trying to do here. They're trying to say, "Hey, we're drawing a line in the sand. Won't you join us so we can all live a more peaceful existence?" But my gut tells me that that's probably not going to happen, and so they still get kind of the goodwill of it, and I give them a small pat on the back there. But again, like 10 patents right out of the gate. I understand it's kind of the starting point, but I haven't seen enough to really buy into it truly. And limiting it to just open source patents as well, it's kind of like, okay, well.
Yeah, and I think it's probably a little PR and it's a little kind of public feather rustling because the problem is with the government. The problem is with the whole system, and so it's hard to change that system from a company standpoint, so they're making an effort. I don't know. They're
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So
they're inching forward a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Well, we'll see, I suppose, whether that changes. This could be a day that will live in infamy.
A reckoning, a day of reckoning.
Here, yes.
Mark the
just
date.
10 patents, just open source, no word about closed proprietary, but this could be a big step forward.
This could be the biggest thing that ever happened to technology ever.
Did this get posted on April 1st, or was this...
Good?
Ooh, good question.
I'm going to choose not to look that up.
They went really litigious with their April 1st prank this year. Google.
Posted 5 days ago. We're safe.
5 days
We're
ago.
in the clear
All
on this
right.
So you mean they beat everybody to the April Fool's punch?
This was the earliest April Fool's joke of this year.
Jerks.
Wasn't April Fool's awful this year, by the way? Like there was
we'll
real
get to
good
that
ones.
a little bit later.
Oh yeah, we do.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But before that, let's check out a voicemail. Actually, we have a voicemail from Ted, who left us a thought on wearable computing. Very interesting.
Sorry, I was getting ready for the other one, and the web page is loading so slow.
In a perfect world.
Hey, AAA crew, it's Ted. I was listening to your show and realizing that with all this talk of Android watches and glasses, I'm thinking, what other accessories can they do? What about an Android belt? Would anybody go for that? Maybe just to be able to, look at your midsection and maybe get some updates about who's calling you, send text messages from your belt. I don't know, just an idea. But it seems like we're starting to run out of accessories to put Android into. What else could they do?
I don't know. That sounds like a brilliant idea to me.
Well, the belt might be a little intimate in terms of access.
Access.
But they've got the bendable paper now. We can see jackets or shirts. We've seen T-shirts with LED screens and stuff like that on there. If this was a screen and I could have like a running kind of news feed or some sort of thing like that, and I look down and it could pick up where your eye is and it will flip upside down when I look at it. Another good idea. There you go.
Wow.
We're just throwing it out there. We're giving them away here.
I know, really. Like we're innovating for everybody else right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, Ted. I like the belt buckle idea.
Honestly, Ted, I had never thought about wearable computing on your belt. I just thought it was kind of an interesting thought, but no. Let's not go there.
All right, let's thank our first sponsor. We want to thank Hulu Plus for sponsoring All About Android. Listen, you've heard of Hulu. Hulu Plus is the best way to access all the great content on Hulu. They offer unlimited instant streaming of current hit TV shows, classic series, and acclaimed movies. It's a fast and easy way to get your favorite shows. Hulu Plus is available on so many devices, connected TVs, Blu-ray players, gaming consoles, the PS3, Xbox 360, set-top boxes like the Apple TV and Roku. You can get it on your Android phone, on your Android tablet. Hulu Plus makes it so easy to access this content, you won't even believe it. You can continue your viewing experience seamlessly across your devices. Start watching on your phone, then go home and finish watching it on the TV. And listen, if you like watching TV like I do, they've got pretty much every show that you're ever going to want to watch. Whether
Ron
it's
likes his TV.
I do like
It's
my
true.
TV. Whether it's classic shows like Firefly, which is one of my favorites, to current shows. I watch New Girl and Modern Family on Hulu all the time when I'm at the gym.
Admit it, you also sneak in a few episodes of Dancing with the Stars. I know.
I sometimes I need to get my dance on, and Hulu Plus is there for me. They've also got some great web-only content, as well as some great content from the UK. One of my favorite shows, which just got canceled, actually, Misfits from the UK. I first watched on Hulu.
That's really good.
Hulu Plus was where I watched it. So listen, if you want to try Hulu Plus, now's your time to do it. Go to huluplus.com/twit, and you'll get a free extra week when you try it. So that's a free 2-week trial instead of the standard 1-week trial.
Oh, they have The Evil Dead on Hulu Plus right now.
They've
That's
got
awesome.
movies. Yeah,
Get ready for the remake that's about to hit the theaters with the original, and that's a dang good film right there.
Exactly.
It's for mature audiences, Chad. So you don't want to go there.
Sorry, I'm only
You're not very
12.
mature.
It's, yeah, not for me. Not for me.
So go to huluplus.com/twit, get your free 2-week free trial. It's free again, in case you weren't sure about it. That's huluplus.com/twit, and we thank Hulu Plus for sponsoring this episode.
Thank you, Hulu Plus. You guys are the bomb.
Yes, and as pointed out in the chat room, it does have Gossip Girl. So if you,
That's all it takes for this guy, right?
So
here.
I'm there. Sold.
All right. Thank you again, Hulu. We love having you on board. Let's jump into hardware. Realizing jumping into hardware would actually be very uncomfortable.
It really would, like a ball pit of hardware.
It could hurt.
Yeah.
That would hurt.
really hurt. Gina, what's cool with Google Glass these days?
The Google Glass Explorer program has come to an end. The If I Had Glass hashtag contest, where where users who really want to try out Glass, or at least get the chance to spend $1,500 to get a pair of Explorer Edition glasses, that contest has ended. Google sent thousands of invites to the If I Had Glass winners, and the Project Glass Google Plus page announced that the Explorer program ended. So the If I Had Glass winners who received an invitation to get their hands on Glass, like I said, they'll have to pay $1,500, and they'll have to travel to New York, San Francisco, or Los Angeles to pick them up in person. I didn't realize that was part of the requirement.
They don't make it easy.
Yeah, they don't. They don't. So Google let winners know on Twitter and on Google Plus that they had gotten accepted into the program. So someone at Stanford, a student at Stanford, did some clever Twitter API hackery and kind of did a search for all the replies. They were public from Project Glass, and compiled a list of winners that at least were on Twitter. 4,200 winners, and published the list sorted by the number of followers. And there's lots of celebrities and lots of people with a ton of followers here. Neil Patrick Harris, Alyssa Milano, Kevin Smith, LeVar Burton, a lot of names, Adam Savage, a lot of names that you already know. And what I like about this is that they published the person's tweet about the If I Had Glass tweet, the thing that kind of won them the glasses. And let's just say, I mean, some of them are good, some of them not so good. I don't know. I think the Googlebot must have done this.
LeVar Burton does win, I think.
Yeah,
it would be a downgrade. That was well done. Well, we were
true. LeVar Burton deserves to win.
We were talking about this in the pre-show, and number one, I was fascinated to see the number of people that won, and I guess they're really guessing that not everybody's going to make it to New York, San Francisco to do it. To pick it up. So that's my guess. So they over rewarded. And while, yes, if you have more than 50,000 followers, you probably had a pretty good chance of getting accepted. There's a lot of sub 50,000s in there as well, too. And it's really interesting to see what some of the non-famous people suggested, some really creative implementations and things like that. I was psyched to see a handful of my friends in the comics industry, a lot of artists and things like that did it, and they won too. I need to follow up to see if they're actually going to do it. But yeah, really interesting to see what won and what didn't win. And now I'm kind of kicking myself for not even bothering.
I know.
There was a bit of a backlash, though. I don't know if they actually had to rescind some of the giveaways, because it turns out that the people had made it like a completely joke entry or something. That was actually I think there was even a few like downright offensive uses.
Yeah, there
of
were some
If I
really
Had Glass.
inappropriate ones.
So.
Yeah.
Clearly, it was a robot that did this. It was 61% of people had between 100 and 1,000 followers, so that's not so bad. 7% had more than 10,000 followers, so there definitely were a lot of celebrities. 20% had less than 100 followers, and this is just the Twitter winners. I don't think that they did the same poll on the Google Plus winners. Another bit of Google Glass news is that Google's going to assemble Google Glass in California. So the Financial Times is reporting that Google partnered with Foxconn in China to get the pieces and have them actually assembled here in California in Santa Clara. And Google wanted to do this so they could kind of more closely manage the assembly with the project, have Google engineers close by. And it sounds like a few thousand Google Glass units will be produced in this factory in California in the coming weeks. And so they just kind of wanted better control. And this is their first run, apparently. So it's kind of a complex, small-scale operation. And, of course, they want the PR of being able to say, hey, these Google Glasses made in the USA. It made me think of the Nexus Q. I remember at Google I/O last year when they announced the Nexus Q was made in the US. That definitely brought some applause from the audience. So, with all the stories about Apple's, the conditions at Apple's factories in China, this would also be a big PR move for Google. So it looks like we're going to get our Explorer Edition soon, Jason. I don't know when, but it sounds like next couple of weeks these are going to get built here in California.
Yeah.
Are you going to do it?
Well, I mean, it's not really mine. I signed up for it, and Leo, it's going to end up going to Leo.
Sure.
So it's Leo's. We're going to have it on the show.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Our If I Had Glass would be Gina would wear it on your side looking at the webcam or looking at your camera.
And yours,
it on this
if I
side.
had glass, would be I'd hand it to my boss.
Yes. And my boss would pay for it, and I'd say bye-bye to it. But
Hey, I host a show about Android. I mean, it's a work expense. I got to get the glass.
I understand.
I know. It's terrible for me. I know, but
Now,
gotta try them.
Now, John, if you had glass, or actually, let me back that up. Will you have glass?
Well, I can't, at least in the current program, because I don't think it's eligible for Canadians. So I'm kind of stuck in that regard. One of my coworkers did actually get in, though. So in theory, he might be able to actually do something with it. So maybe I could live vicariously through him.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Yeah, Jeff Jarvis, who's my co-host on This Week in Google, which airs on Wednesdays here on Twit, he got in. So I'm excited about that. There are actually quite a few sort of tech journalist types, Chris Pirillo and Alexis Madrigal, which makes sense.
Okay. I mean, even just scanning through the list, I realized, initially you see all of the high follower count and you're like, hey, what's this all about? Only celebrities getting this, people with big followings. But really, I mean, and I realize the list is not necessarily scientific or anything, but even if you just pin your point at halfway down the page, everything below that, 50% is like 1,000 followers or less.
And the lowest,
it reaches a lot of
the bottom
people.
one had 7 followers. So
could you imagine you're at the bottom of the list, but you're like, man, I lucked out.
I'm there.
I got in.
Yeah, he's in with the Mythbusters guy. Well, there you go. So if you had glass, what would you use it? If we had entered this, what would you have said you would do it? Would you take pictures of your new baby? I mean, what would you do?
Oh, wow.
Your wife would love that.
I know, right? My wife is having a baby right now. I don't think I would do that.
Would you do a hangout for the birth?
No. Sorry, nobody's invited.
That's evil.
But I will say that the along the baby lines, that's definitely what I think of when I think of Google Glass, are the amount of times that I would love to be able to take a picture, and it takes so long for me to reach into my pocket and pull out the camera and launch the thing, and by the time I've launched it, the moment has long since passed. And, when you've got a little baby, it'd be very cool because you need both of your hands with the baby a lot of the time. So that would be great.
Now the question that I'm dying to know, Chad, how does Google Glass improve Minecraft?
Let's think. Google Glass could help my Minecraft experience by
he's crafting a
I'm
masterpiece.
crafting an
app or something
idea,
like that? Some sort of HUD that you could have that would help you in the game.
I guess it would have to be like some sort of I mean, there is no virtual experience.
Well, because honestly, now
Chad
this
hitting
is
buttons.
the worst. Yeah, I don't know.
That just reminds me because I used to play World of Warcraft. I'll admit it, and I spent hours adjusting my HUD, my display, as to where all the buttons and where all the indicators were. If you could link that to whatever game you are, and you're sitting in front of the screen and you're getting information and you're freeing up screen for the game itself, that could be a pretty cool application.
Yeah, it'd be like, okay, Glass, how do I craft a sword? Or
there's
okay,
another
Glass,
idea.
how do
There's
I?
another idea. Developers
Developers, just do it.
OMG, Chad, you should have entered.
I know, I should have.
Yep.
Yeah, if
should've
I
entered,
had
apparently.
Glass, I would buy someone else's app that they created for Minecraft.
If I had Glass, I would color them red to go with my hair.
Well, speaking of games,
Yes. Let's dig ourselves out of this hole.
Good segue.
Okay, so first up, there's the Ouya, right? The Ouya is actually so it's not set to hit non-backers until June, but 50,000 the folks who pledged the $99 or more on the Kickstarter should be receiving these in the coming days. And John, I know that the folks, you guys over at Engadget got your hands on it. I know that it sounds like you didn't personally, but what have you heard about it from the inside? Have you guys talked about it very much?
We haven't talked a whole lot about it on the inside or anything, but generally it seems like, it's looking at least promising from what I've seen. Like, I mean, the software, you could tell, like, software is a bit young. They've actually said they're basically, like, if you're a Kickstarter backer, you're in a sense kind of a beta tester. Like, you're you're getting the early stuff where the June launch, like that's when in theory it should be a little more polished.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, $99 when it's released on June 4th, they say. And the review, the hands-on on Engadget it's a great hands-on, but what's interesting about the device itself is it's so tiny, but so that gives you no idea of the weight of the device, but they weighed it down because of all the cables that kind of jut out of the backside, so it doesn't flop it over.
Yeah, if you with all those cables, which are very kind of they've got a lot of tension and stuff like that. If it's too light, it could flip up, and so that's really interesting how they put a weight at the bottom of it. I'm dying to get my hands on it. It
does sound like latency is a little bit of an issue. Hopefully they nail that down, because on a gaming system, latency is it's your mortal enemy. It's the level boss, latency is in a gaming system.
Yeah.
But they're doing cool stuff with it, though.
Yes.
I mean,
so XBMC, there is on Liliputing. We talked about this on Tech News Today, I think yesterday, or was it Framerate? It was probably Framerate, actually. Somebody who got the developer version of the Ouya has been working on getting XBMC loaded onto the device. And that right there, as I watched the demo of XBMC, I'm like, okay, now I suddenly really want this.
You know what I love is that any device comes out and they put XBMC on it. It's like, what is it? How do we put XBMC on it? And it just like, I really respect that whole developer group, because their mission is to get XBMC on everything.
It's like the Doom video game of media players.
Now they just need they need a different name. XBMC is hard to say, hard to remember, and it's not the Xbox Media Center anymore.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, it started there maybe, but it's it's not running on an Xbox. It's running on plenty of different platforms. Yeah, and it looks really great. Is this the video, Chad?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Skip about 2/3 of the way through, and you start to see.
There it is.
Yeah, you kind of see a little bit of it, and I mean XBMC, from what I understand, is a pretty heavy kind of approach for this stuff. And so if you have a slower device running XBMC, you get a lot of, kind of choppiness in the animations and everything, depending on the kind of the skin that you have running on XBMC. And from the gentleman that does the review, he just kind of said it's super fast. It's super responsive. He actually, I think it's his niece that's operating it, because XBMC had touted that, it's easy for even a kid to operate. And so his niece is the one that's kind of operating while he is kind of talking through it. And everything that they show off just looks beautiful. It's like, I want to throw my PS3 out the window, because this just makes the experience so much more enjoyable for this kind of stuff.
So this next thing, I saw this morning. I thought it was super cool. So
I love this. Yeah. This is and I think this kind of speaks to the heart of why Ouya could be really successful here. Is that they're totally not taking the regular approach here. They're actually teaming up with MakerBot, which is kind of a 3D printing, the quintessential 3D printing kind of figure in the space right now, and allowing you to 3D print your own console case for your Ouya.
How cool is that?
That's awesome.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, that's totally playing to the maker, like DIY kind of, that sort, but like at this point, like if you want a different color box, just make it. That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Who needs a faceplate like you get with the Xbox when you can literally just make your own case exactly the way you want it?
And now I wonder, I haven't played with a MakerBot 3D printer, and it looks like there's probably a template, but I'm sure there's probably some intricate kind of design and stuff you could do to it, some etching and all that stuff on the outside to make it that, even that much more, customizable.
Yeah, if you could kind of play around with the file that you insert into MakerBot to create it from, I imagine that you could.
MakerBot is just ridiculous. It's just one of my friends has one, and it's just like, really? It's like,
you have a friend that has one?
No, he got it as a gift.
I need to give me that friend.
No, he's got it as a gift, and he's like, I don't know what to do with it. He's like, I make my kids toys on it. And it's
perfect. That's a perfect thing to do with it.
There you go.
It's like I want to get it purely so I could lose pieces when making furniture from IKEA, and then make the replacement parts.
Be like, I don't care. I'll just make one.
Anyway, so lots more game stuff. Ouya isn't the only kid on the block. Also coming out at GDC was PlayJam's Game Stick, which is a similar kind of self-contained gaming unit running Android.
Also kind of kickstarted.
Exactly, yep. Crowdfunded. Yep. This is similar to the NVIDIA approach where the whole system is in the controller. And this was revealed at GDC. People got their first look at it, and it looks pretty interesting. I mean, it's definitely got that kind of, devy kind of, like I like the font that they're using and all the kind of design approach. But I mean, it's an interesting design, and it's interesting approach to handling these, more Android gaming platforms. I think it's fascinating to see these developed. And now it makes me wonder what's going on with the NVIDIA thing we saw at CES.
Yeah,
so,
I haven't heard. Yeah, it kind of made a splash, and then you kind of haven't heard very much about that.
Yep.
I imagine we'll hear more about it. Yeah, you don't. What I'm curious about here, because it was an issue with the Ouya, is the latency.
Yep.
Of this, is that kind of something that's hard to get around on Android in general, or was it just something kind of a downside of the Ouya, and they've got it? There are ways to work around it with these other players.
I think it's solvable myself. Like it's just like, I mean, these are both like Kickstarter projects. They're obviously kind of on this hasty schedule. So give it time, and I think they'll at least get it down to a reasonable level. So I hope.
Yep.
Yeah, they need to for sure. But yeah, I agree. I don't think that it's unsolvable. Just curious if they figured it out when Ouya hadn't. I was really kind of surprised to hear about the latency issues on the Ouya.
Yep.
But
so cool. So keep an eye on GameStick. That's gonna be interesting as well too, to see how it develops. That said, we've got some more hardware. We've got some release dates that have been announced,
which we don't really cover a whole lot.
No,
but HTC One versus Samsung Galaxy S4, they're kind of,
these are pretty high profile ones, and I know a lot of you are all waiting to find out what these dates are. So here we go. So HTC One, all right, on AT&T, pre-orders begin on April 4th. That's in 2 days. And then it releases on April 19th. The 32 gigabyte phone will be $199.99 with a 2-year contract and exclusive to AT&T, all that stuff. 64 gig will be $299.99. So if you got an extra $100, you can get a lot of memory on there.
Yeah, and actually that's the exclusive one, the 64 gig. You won't be able to get that on the other carriers.
There you go. And on Sprint, also April 19th, they've got the 32 gig, also at $199.99 with a 2-year contract. So that's the HTC One. So those of you who've been waiting for it.
There's also like little murmurs that and more signs pointing to the fact that Verizon actually will be getting the HTC One, though I don't think we have any official anything on it.
Yeah, it's been a bit conflicting. There's a bit of a yes they will, no they won't kind of thing. So I'm sure a lot of people are hoping for it, because I guess what they don't want to see is like kind of Droid Incredible 4G LTE thing where Verizon has to have some special custom model that ends up being delayed by months and isn't as good as the one that they would have shipped if they just used the reference design. So
cool. And so then on the Samsung Galaxy S4, the big hurdle seems to be FCC approval. And what we've got so far is on Verizon and AT&T, the Galaxy S4 has passed through the FCC and is cleared for release. T-Mobile, Sprint, and U.S. Cellular have yet to do so. So those.
Oh, sorry. Actually, I was going to jump in. I just want to double check, but I know that there's a version that actually went through the FCC for let's see, I think it was Metro PCS and US Cellular, and I think Sprint actually. Just a moment, I'm going to check.
Oh, okay. Excellent. So they're right around the corner.
Yeah, so they're coming. AT&T pre-orders for the Galaxy S4 begin on April 16th. So they are coming, the impending arrival of the next generation of phones from HTC and Samsung.
And the way that it looks right now is that HTC is going to get a little bit of a head start, which was, I think that's pretty important to HTC One's success against
Do you really
the
think,
S4.
I mean, how long? I mean, so it's.
I don't know if it's necessarily going to make a big difference.
Right, so the Galaxy,
any sort of lead they can get on the S4.
So if pre-orders from AT&T start on April 19th, April 16th. How long is the pre-order period? It seems fairly short on the HTC One side of things. You know, it's April 4th. They're going to come out on April 19th. So let's say 2 to 3 weeks. So is the HTC's 2 to 3 weeks enough of a head start to ensure market positioning? I don't know.
I guess all I mean is anything is good for HTC at this point. And the way that it was kind of looking before, where they had a release date and then they had to scrap all of April, or not all of April, but all of March, and sometime into April and everything, they had a really good chance to get a nice solid month and a half ahead of the S4, and they needed every day that they could get, as far as that's concerned, to build up the hype, the momentum, and everything. Now it's just so close that that could really hurt them.
Yeah.
Well, I will say the price seems to be possibly the real clincher, because I mean the one is going to be like $200 on AT&T and Sprint, and the Galaxy S4 is going to be, at least on AT&T, it's going to be $250. So I mean, yes, you're not getting the exact same kind of phone, but at the same time, like, there's probably going to be some people are going to wander into the store. They're going to say, well, that Samsung phone's $50 more expensive. Why do I want that? And they're just going to buy the one because it's the slightly cheaper one, the slightly better buy, at least in theory.
Yeah, right. And it has a lot of good kind of publicity around it as well. I just don't know how wide that publicity has reached into the general kind of knowledge out there.
Consciousness.
But
Yep.
And cool devices. I saw this right at the end of the before the show went live today, Gina. But I just thought this is
you're killing my wallet here, Jason. You're killing my wallet.
Sorry. I put this in just for you.
Well, if you've been wanting to get your hands on an Android tablet, or you need a kind of an extra one, Woot.com. Woot. Is it? Do you have to say it like that with the exclamation point?
You have to yell it. You have to go woo.
Woo. They're hosting a tablets and accessories blowout sale at the moment. Ends April 5th at 9 a.m. Central Time. If you go to woot.com/plus/tablets-accessories, lots of interesting stuff here. Lots of refurbished items for cheap, and stands and keyboards and covers and fold out keyboards, all kinds of stuff here. So check it out if you were looking to add another touchscreen device to your arsenal.
Yeah, if you're right around the $250 range and you want to get a tablet, you're maybe thinking, well, I'll just get the Nexus 7. It's a 7-inch tablet. It has a lot of good reviews and stuff, but you can actually find some good 10-inch tablets here for the same price if you're okay with refurbished. The Asus Transformer Pad 10.1, both the 16 and 32 gig. The 32 gig version of that is $260 there right now. Or you could get that with the keyboard dock for $300. Hey, I have the Motorola Zoom in my hand right here. I'm going to be using it for the app review today. I suppose you could drop $200 on a Zoom, but maybe not.
The Zoom probably weighs as much as $200. That's for sure.
It is a little heavy. Yeah. Anyways, if you want a tablet, that's probably a good place to start, but quick, because they'll disappear. Let's take a quick email here. Kirill wrote in to say, I just wanted to react to the thing someone of you said about Google Keep, that it will at least have 3 to 4 years of life. That's okay. But what about all the data we put in into it after those 3 to 4 years when they decide to kill it. Of course, we've heard this all before, right? Like, it's like, can I trust Google? I still feel burnt from their killing of Google Notebook. I had many notes there, most of them in Cyrillic characters. When they killed the service, they offered an export, but that export did not support Cyrillic, so most of my notes were unreadable garbage in the output file. Wouldn't that suck?
Oh, man.
I had to copy and paste my notes one by one in Evernote. Now I am not sure I want to trust Google again with my notes. Regards.
Well, I mean, and not to dismiss Cyrillic as a
that
language.
sucks. That does suck.
That sucks. That sucks a lot. But
Yeah.
that's kind of an edge case. I feel like, you know, like you're running a risk with any service with those special characters and that sort of thing. You know, like whether, you know, what other language that might be that is not the standard English character set. That really sucks. But that said, they're developing, you know, technologies better and better, and maybe the exports service that Google offers now, Google Takeout, will allow that support later on. And we joke about the 3 to 4 year shelf life. We don't know what will happen. Maybe Google Keep never goes away. But that said, you put your stuff in Evernote. Hey, Evernote's a startup. I mean, they're doing great, but nothing says they're going to be around tomorrow.
Absolutely.
You know, we're starting to see, and I think it's really interesting from a startup space, you know, from an entrepreneurial kind of space. We don't get into that as much in this show, but like FormSpring went under. Like FormSpring just is going away. And I know there are people who lived on FormSpring and had all their questions and all stuff like that. That stuff's just going away. Any company can go out of business at any time. So you just, I mean, that's the risk we run with this.
Or any service can be canceled
Exactly,
at any time.
yeah,
Take
yeah.
Reader, for example. You know.
Yeah. So, I mean, so back up and just be prepared with an exit strategy. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We put our information and our trust and our faith in these services, but never believe that they are here forever and ever and ever.
Never.
But it's just kind of the way that it is.
I have boxes of hard drives with data that I said, when I need this, I'll just hook the hard drive up and I'll get it up.
You need to
I have a
spin those.
150 meg, 5 1/4 inch MFM double height hard drive that's like this big with some of my favorite PC games from 1992, and I could never get to it now. There's no way I can ever get to that data. So you got to be prepared.
But you're still going to hold on to
It's
it.
in my
because
parents' It's in my parents' house. Damn straight. That's my.
Never get rid of that.
I saved so much money for that 150 meg hard drive. That was I was like, I got this, and it was big. It's a double height 5 1/4 inch hard drive. It was amazing.
I totally understand.
Yeah. So. Oh well, I will never play Wing Commander again.
Don't
It's
say
on Good Old
that.
Games or something like that, isn't it? Like, I think it's on some retro game services.
There's
So
got to
you're
be.
kinda
Yeah. I can find a ROM emulator and not get the ROM.
Let's dive right into apps, shall we?
Google's Knowledge Graph has moved into movies on Android tablets. So the Knowledge Graph is when you search for something in Google Search just in the browser, and there's that that right-hand column that shows you information. So I just tried it out. I just searched for Google Search for Petaluma, California, and on the right-hand side I see a map, and I see the population and the area and the elevation and points of interest. That's Google's Knowledge Graph. That's their treating things like objects and not just web pages, right? So this Knowledge Graph is moving into movies that you purchase in the Play Store to watch on your Android tablet. So how it works is, so say you're watching a movie with Jack Black in it. You can see on the Verge there's a screenshot Chad showing, and you pause it. The Knowledge Graph will show up a panel on the right side, which uses facial recognition to tell you who the actors are that are on screen and what other movies and TV that they've done before. So you can see there Jack Black showing up some stats about him. And now they're not using IMDb information. This isn't movie meta information. This is Google running facial recognition on the actors to display this information. And this also works for I know. And it also works for songs in the movie. So if you hear a song playing in a movie that you want to know, what's that song? I want to get this on my device. Hit pause, and you'll get information about that song. And that's also using Google's sound search technology, not the metadata. I haven't had a chance to try this out yet. Apparently, this is only Android tablets running 4.0 and above, and only for movies in the Play Store. But I want this everywhere now.
So the key question is, how long does it take to integrate this into Glass? And not associate it to movie stars, but associate it to Google Plus.
Yep.
Yeah, I would love that if you could just like point at somebody and like literally just know right away who they are.
I want to see who they are, how many Twitter followers they have, and then I'll decide if they're worth talking to. So,
and whether or not they won if I
yeah, exactly.
Glass.
Yeah. Or it'd be cool if there's some sort of data points that you're really interested in, whether they're that could be really interesting. And I think the TV and film stuff alone is awesome.
Yeah.
And even in that example, that's a picture of Jack Black not really looking like Jack Black.
Right. He has a mustache.
Yeah, exactly. So. Very interesting.
It's funny to test this out. I searched for you. I searched for your name, Ron, and when I'm signed into Google, the Knowledge Graph results show your information from your Google Plus profile because I'm following you on Google Plus. But then I tried it in incognito window, and I didn't get the Knowledge Graph results, which is interesting, right? So can you imagine with Glass, if I go to Google I/O and I look at a Googler or look at someone there who I follow on Google Plus, it would be great if Glass said, hey, this is this person.
Yeah.
Who you already follow.
I would love to know if it's someone who I follow or someone who follows me. I mean, I think there's a lot of potential in that in terms of, IRL connecting. You know what I mean? Like
totally.
People that you
you would know that person was standing there because we follow a lot of people online and we follow their work, but we haven't necessarily met them in person, face to face before. So we might even still recognize that we recognize them from somewhere, but not know exactly who they are. Now, why not talk to them?
And also, as somebody I know we lean on Twitter and the chat room hates it, but like as someone who's on Twitter who does not put it, my photo is not my avatar on Twitter. A lot of time I've had people talking to me not knowing that I'm me. They're like, oh, I follow you. Once they see, once it gets connected, really interesting, really interesting. So
yeah.
Cool. So a little more Google app news. Folks who are international travelers and who might not know the languages of where you're going very well will rejoice that Google Translate for Android has now added offline language support. So they're going to support 50 languages to have offline support. So when you're online, you just got to pre-install the proper offline language pack, and then Google Translate will work in any of those countries that use any of the 50 languages. The offline translation dictionaries are less comprehensive than their online equivalents, but that's a small price to pay. And in the future, and as storage increases, we can see more expansive dictionaries be stored offline. But that's great if you have an Android phone and you're traveling abroad and you don't have an international data plan, but you still want to use it as a tool to allow for translating. To have offline support is so cool. Add the offline maps, your offline translate. You don't even need a connection. You can just go traverse the French. What's the water? Nice, the Riviera. The Riviera, that's what it is.
I was gonna say I could have used this so badly last year because we're going to Barcelona for Mobile World Congress, and then because you don't want to sit there using your data roaming just so that you can translate some street sign, being able to just say, okay, well, download a Catalan language pack, and then you can just translate anything wherever you happen to be. That would have probably saved me some time while I was putting around the city.
Now, here's what they need to do. Here's what you got to do. You have to create some sort of app that a traveler to a potentially different country can tap into. Say, I'm going to Madrid, and this app automatically downloads the offline map for you, the offline language for you, and offline whatever else you want.
No. You don't even tell it. It does it because it's on Google Now.
It knows.
It knows that you have a trip to.
Yeah, it sees your flight confirmation in your email, and then exactly.
Yes.
Google.
Right, it brings up the barcode now, right?
Right.
Well, there's another $1 million idea we just gave to
Google. Give it away.
You're handing them ideas.
Yeah, jeez, my God.
We got to stop this whole podcast
really
thing.
Stop it. Yeah,
we're leaking like a sieve right now. This is crazy.
Listen, I'm full of ideas and no ambition and no ability whatsoever.
That's my problem. Yeah, totally.
All right, so we got an email.
Wait a minute. Before we get
I'm sorry.
there.
Oh, right. Oh, how could I forget this one? I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, this is cool. Okay. Okay. The disclaimer is yes. April Fool's was yesterday.
It was yesterday, and it was lame.
Yes, it was pretty lame.
It was super lame.
But I liked this one.
I
actually kept going back to it. So SwiftKey.
You know why this was cool? Is because they executed on it.
They actually did something with it. It's something that you can use, and it was actually kind of fun to do.
Yep.
So SwiftKey, we've talked about him plenty of times. We've had Joe Braidwood on the show to talk
awesome.
about
He's
it.
a great dude.
Yeah, and it's been my replacement keyboard for a long, long time. They had this announcement of Tilt, which was like this little ball that comes up in your keyboard and bounces around, and you could move your phone around and use the motion to kind of type your words. It doesn't necessarily quite work like that, but if you go into an updated version of SwiftKey, and I'll show you on this tablet here, Chad. Hopefully the brightness is dialed in. You type in the word tilt, and then you hold down on the prediction. You get SwiftKey tilt. I'll hit that, and boom, I've got the ball, right? So it starts to bounce around, and it starts to put in all of the recommendations based on what it's hitting. And you just end up with kind of cool stuff. I haven't done it on a tablet, actually, so it's kind of weird. Better on a phone, maybe. But, it was silly. So I just, and
That's
poker game
elaborate.
seems to come up a lot.
Interesting.
Tilt.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So tilt poker. So it says tilt poker game is a good time with the help you to be the best way to. And I don't know. It was just kind of fun to see what it.
I mean, that's great. Is that it's
ridiculous.
a funny joke, but they actually made it work, and that's what those are the April Fool ones that are actually where you go, wait a minute, really, and so that's good execution on it. So
and
good,
I do
job.
wonder if it's going to stay in there.
Oh, I think so.
Why
Yeah, it's
not?
an Easter egg.
Yeah, totally.
so.
It's totally
Yeah.
Easter
There's
egg.
going to be one grandma that's like, there's a bug that when
the
I
ball typing
selected
doesn't work.
tilt.
I'm at the casino
And-
and I need to type about the word tilt. Do I use
Right.
this prediction? Where's the predict? Wait a minute. What is that?
And then he's going to get in that, and then she won't be able to get out ever.
Yeah, exactly.
Ever.
So how do you get out of it?
You back out of it. So basically, it
Back
goes away the next time you open your keyboard.
Oh, that's
It's
good.
a temporary thing.
It's a total temporary thing. You have to redo it if you want it.
So good job, SwiftKey.
Quite a bit of dev going on there. I'm impressed.
Yeah, it's cool. I liked it.
All right, on to that email.
All right.
Yuka wrote in and said, the discussion of battery charging missed some key factors. We were talking about that last episode, I believe, right? The battery charging question. Although people often hear lithium battery and assume the lithium ion that we've become accustomed to, some devices now have lithium polymer batteries, which are more sensitive to overcharging risks. Although even that concept isn't so accurate. Even the difference of a fixed built-in battery versus a removable one matters. One reason our modern devices can readily use these lithium battery technologies is that they have a smart charging circuit, which can detect and manage thermal conditions associated with charging. Most modern devices get the worst battery abuse from incorrect information based largely on old behaviors for old battery technologies. The new smart charge lithium battery equipped devices will tell you when it's time to plug in, and even when it's best to unplug from the charger. Trust them. They really have a lot of engineering behind them.
Yeah.
I would love to trust my devices aren't smart. No device is told. I mean, like when I get to 15%, it says to plug in, but when I go to 100, it doesn't. It just says it doesn't say unplug. It just says I still.
Well,
get
it
the
says
light.
charged,
It says charged.
right?
Yeah. So I guess at that
basically
point I should
saying-
take it off. Then is that what he's saying?
I suppose so. I mean, I think what I found interesting about this is just the sense that the old batteries, there wasn't that kind of knowledge built
Sure,
into
they're
it,
much smarter,
that would kind of guide you to know that you've charged it sufficiently.
But I think his point.
now we should just trust it.
I think the point about old habits is absolutely straight because I plug it in when I go to sleep and then I wake up and I take it off the charger because that's an old habit. Maybe I shouldn't be doing that. Maybe and I honestly I don't think the education when you get the device is there to tell you what to do and breaking those old habits is difficult. So I don't know.
And-
I fear constantly that I'm overcharging all my devices. I know I am. I feel it in my bones.
Well, I think what he's saying here is it's smart enough to know to prevent overcharging.
Right, yeah. So the other device is smart enough to just stop charging it when it detects that it's charged. And in that case, somebody like me doesn't need to break the old habits.
Right. Exactly.
Interesting.
Let's take a quick break before we dive into the arena, which I'm really excited about for this week, to thank our sponsor of today's episode, 99 Designs. We're super stoked to have 99 Designs on the All About Android team. 99 Designs connects you to the world of great graphic designers that they actually have tied in with the service. They create fast, affordable graphic designs for you, and it's just a really kind of unique, interesting way to get seasoned graphic designers to kind of do the work that you may or may not have the time to do or don't have the knowledge to do. That's certainly the case for me. Is I have these ideas, but I would have no idea how to implement them. There are graphic designers tied in with 99 Designs that can do that work for you. So it's really cool. You tell them what you need, Dozens of designers from their community will then submit quality designs created just for you based on what you tell them, give you the designers your feedback to basically help them to refine their ideas, get them into the right ballpark, and then you select and pay for your favorite design based on those options. 99 Designs provides more than 210,000 graphic designers worldwide who are actually available to work on your project for you. World-class customer support, 24/7 over the phone, email, chat, however you need it at any point. They provide excellent customer support for you. Complimentary design consultations with the San Francisco design team for all of your branding needs. So if you're looking to brand yourself or a project that you have in mind, they can help you with that and kind of lend you a professional helping hand along those lines. 100% money-back guarantee as well. And they have a lot of different design categories included here. Logo design, web design, digital marketing collateral like landing pages, your Google Plus social page, your Facebook page, all those kinds of things that people see when they check out your social presence online. Print marketing collateral like brochures, flyers, menus, apparel design, t-shirts, hoodies, mobile app design. Mobile app design is perfect for this show. You get a lot of people who have a great idea for an app. We have great ideas for apps on this show from time to time. We would have no idea how to implement it from a design perspective. So 99 Designs could help you. Twit has actually used 99 Designs to help commission Twit logo designs for our next marketing products. And the results are just awesome. It's just so cool to see all of the different designers kind of approaches for what they can do with something as simple as the Twit logo and our Twit lettering, and they just kind of go to town and give you all of these different options. And as the person that kind of commissioned this work, I can then go through and say, you know what, this swirly logo, I like that a lot. Maybe add, another color in there and twist it around even further, and basically communicate that to the designers and end up with something that's absolutely perfect for my product.
Such a great design is so hard. Good design is hard, and having access to good designers is almost even harder.
The weird thing about
that's such a great service.
The weird thing about good design is that when you look at it, it looks easy. It looks like it would be easy.
Yeah, exactly.
You're like, wow, it's so simple, it's so clean cut.
We take it for granted so much. So yeah, very cool service.
Totally. So here's what you can do if this sounds interesting to you. You can start right now for as low as $199 for your own custom graphic design. Visit 99designs.com/AAA. And you'll get a $99 power pack of services for free. A power pack gives you more designer time and attention. They'll bold and highlight and feature your design product in 99 Designs Marketplace, and you'll get nearly twice as many designs through that exposure. So here's what you can do. You can go to 99designs.com/AAA today, or you can call 800-513-1678, designated for Twit listeners. That's 800-513-1678. And one more time, 800-513-1678, and check out 99 Designs for yourself. It's really cool stuff, and we thank 99 Designs for their support of All About Android.
I always want to start singing 99 Luftballons.
99designs.com/AAA. Yeah. Okay. Wow. There you go.
Nice.
Well, speaking of music,
I'm not sure. Yes.
We've got something to unveil.
Let's pull the curtain off of something impressive.
So many enter, but only one lives. Android Arena.
Boom.
Oh, there we go.
Look at that.
That was a nice grab.
Wow.
Man, I
awesome.
almost had a heart attack. That was just too impressive.
Can we see it again?
Sure.
Is that too crazy? Can we do that?
Let's do it. Yeah,
Nice.
Chad, is that possible?
So many enter, but only one lives. Android Arena.
And it's still got the Spanish flair, the rolling of the R.
Yeah, the audio is the same. So Bill Meeks was the one that designed the old drop that we
Which
used
we
for
love.
102 episodes.
Loved it.
As well as the voiceover and all the music and stuff. And then Jeff Kosmicki contacted me through email and just kind of said, "Hey, I made this. You can use it if you want, or no. Even if you don't, it's whatever. There you go." I was like, man, that is pretty awesome stuff.
It's cool. So
We
we've
were
got a
all
little bit of
like,
a legacy. We got a little bit
That's
of a
right.
legacy with the voiceover. right? And then we got the new look. So yeah,
I don't know. That was
Love
pretty darn
Love it,
cool.
love it.
So, anyways, thanks to our awesome, the folks that watch and listen to this show. I realize audio listeners are like, what?
it's the same thing. Same
It's
thing.
pretty much the same.
Same, but
Android.
different.
Arena.
Right.
But anyways, if you are an audio listener, check it out on video. It's
Yes,
pretty
it's worth it. It's
impressive.
totally worth it.
And
Can we
thank
just
you.
put that bit up on the YouTube thing? We totally should do that.
Oh, just the
Just the animation.
I don't
Yeah.
see why not.
Yeah, I gotta plus that.
All right, I'll do that. I'll make myself a note. Android Arena on YouTube. Okay, otherwise I will forget it. Okay, so last week's Arena, and wow, did I lose?
Wow, I think that's the real story. Is that it might be your worst loss yet?
I'm pretty sure
Wait
it
a
was.
sec.
I mean, I failed miserably at my demonstration.
Well, so
I'm not
when the
surprised.
show
Wait.
ended, our guest Marquez, I for sure I thought he had it with his NFC task launcher, and then this morning I go to look.
Wait,
I'm like, oh, how bad am I losing?
no. I'm calling foul.
Why?
What's
If
up?
you hover over, look, everyone else's stuff, like in the map, only India and like a few other countries have voted. And if you click on India, 424 votes have come from India.
Oh.
You are a sleuth.
That is not. That's. I mean, I love India and I love any viewers who came from India, but I don't believe that we have that many people voting from India.
Interesting.
Wow.
This is a ruse. We've been taken.
Do you think?
Interesting. If you go just US.
Look, if you look at everyone
NFC.
else, I
Or
like.
Canada.
Let's use Spain.
Hey, Chad. There's a crisis in Minecraft you need to go address.
Oh, right now?
Quick,
oh,
look
no.
over there. Look over there. There's something going on in Minecraft. Go away.
Interesting.
even the Aussies NFC one.
I am completely crestfallen. What happened?
there's-
How did
there's-
that happen?
Right?
That's crazy.
We're
So
gonna have to
okay,
fi-
so
we're
if
gonna
you
have to figure
minus
some stuff out here.
424 votes,
yeah. We're gonna have to. I demand a recount.
I know.
So-
not a whole lot we can do about that now.
if you take out my 424 votes, let's see.
Math going on here. I wish I had a calculator app.
I had
that
205 votes, so Marquez would beat me with his 430. So look at Chad finding the truth.
Look, Ron's like, look at Chad.
Look at.
Aren't you smart?
How do you know? How do we know that I'm not huge in India? I have a lot of Indian people following me on Google Plus, by the way.
Yeah, well, see, there you go.
There you go.
It's your fan base. It's your fan base.
Yeah,
Who
my
knows?
fan base. I'm huge in.
I know.
I can't name one city in India.
Let's just put it this way. If we look at the United States' votes and add them up, less people voted in the United States than voted in India.
Do you know about India's population?
I
It's
do
quite
know
huge.
about
It's
India's
quite-
population. I also know that we're probably a little bit more popular in the United States.
Listen,
Well, in Indiana.
Indiana, yes. They also voted
I-
for smart.
I am huge in Mumbai. I am huge in Delhi. I am huge in Bangalore. I am huge
we
in
go.
Allahabad. I am huge in Kolkata. I'm huge in Jaipur. I'm huge in. There's a town called Lucknow. I'm huge in Lucknow. What can I say? They're
I've
all
heard
controlling
that.
their volumes. So-
All right. I know I've said it in the past, but we'll have to take a look at our approach here. Because it's possible that there are funny things afoot.
that was great. That was awesome.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get the new poll started. Thank you for your sleuthing, Chad.
New Angel in the chat room wins. Who says I would have won if it wasn't for meddling Chad and his red hair.
True, actually.
Honestly, I had nothing to do with that at all. And I was as shocked as anybody. That's insane. That's totally insane.
All right. I'm going to go first because I lost horribly. Mine, that's compatibility zoom. All right, is going to look a little weird because it's on a tablet. Well, it doesn't actually look that weird, and I've only ever really used it on a phone. It's called Clean Master. I honestly thought that this was like a really unique pick, and then I looked at how many installs it's had. I had never heard of it before. It's had a lot of installs, somewhere in the 5 million range. So I'm kind of coming out with one that maybe some of you have already heard of before, but I thought it was a good device. It's well designed, or a good app. It's well designed, and basically it's essentially a cleaning app for your device, cleaning things like cache, residual files from apps that you've deleted that still kind of leave their tracks on your SD card, and then you take a look at your SD card or your storage later, and you're like, well, why do I have 5 million folders here and I don't even have half the apps that they're tied to? It also kind of allows you to manage your privacy data as well as uninstalling apps from their interface. And it gives you kind of a good overview of the storage on your device. So you can see right up here, my SD card, this is the Zoom that's left here at work, so I don't have a whole lot stored on it, but it gives me a little graph. 5% of it is filled up right now. Device storage, well, I guess they're one and the same in this case, but so what you can do is you've got your history that will kind of analyze everything that you've done with your device and kind of take a look at just some of the different files that are left behind. And right now it's saying that, I have a couple of files that are occupying 51.1 megs. I'll go ahead and clean those. Obviously, if I was doing this, and I wasn't doing a show, I'd kind of analyze a little bit more on what I'm cleaning out here, because you don't want to necessarily get rid of stuff that you actually want to stay on here. There's also kind of analyzing the residual files that are left behind, things like media and stuff that you might have on there. And, sometimes you load media onto your device and later you forget that you ever did that, and it's occupying lots of space because media files take up a lot of space. This is another way to kind of analyze that and get rid of it. There's a privacy button here that will kind of allow you to manage all of your different pieces of privacy, things like your search history, your Chrome kind of data that's stored with Chrome, Gmail, all that stuff. Again, kind of the disclaimer here is don't get rid of anything that you think might, affect your use. I don't think it's necessarily going to break the operation of your device. You just might spend more time loading that stuff later because you've deleted it. But if you don't care about this stuff and you need to save space, or you just want to kind of keep it clean, you can go ahead and get rid of it from here. What is another one here? There's a little tasks management option here, which I'll be completely honest, I haven't really used the tasks option very much. I do think that it is possible. What it's doing right now is it's kind of scanning what tasks are currently running on here. And I wouldn't normally say that killing tasks is something that you necessarily need to do, especially with later Android OS kind of updates. Google has done a great job of managing those tasks for you. But if that's something that's important to you, there's a pretty, kind of easy way to get to it and access those and get rid of them and manage your tasks that are running right now. But again, like I said, I don't really use that a whole lot. And then there's kind of an app manager in here. You can do things like uninstall in bulk, which I like a lot. I like being able to, the possibility of just being like, I don't use that or that or that, and just uninstall in one clean sweep. You can also back up to your SD card here as well. So some of the things that this app does, Clean Master, are replicated by other apps that we've had in the arena in the past. But I really like the design approach of this, and that it doesn't try to do too many things at once, because some apps just try and do everything under the sun. This does these things really well, and it's well designed. It's very easy to use. And it's free.
For an app dedicated to cleaning, it does have a very clean interface.
It does,
which I think
as
is a
it
nice,
should.
Yeah, as it was just a nice combination. So
yeah,
that's
totally.
Cool. That's a cool app.
So again, it's Clean Master, and then they put in parentheses cleaner. So I don't know why, but there you go. Clean Master. It's by KS Mobile, and I think it's a good free way of keeping your device clean.
Cool.
Who is next? Ron.
I am next. So we often talk a lot about task lists and to-do lists and stuff like that, and I'm not going to deny being a little intimidated here talking about a to-do list app when Gina's on the show. So I feel like I have to give my nod to Gina's app. So
thank you.
This is not a replacement for to-do.txt. This is just a different approach.
Absolutely. It's pretty.
It is pretty. Yeah. Well, no, so I had a whole different app planned to do in the arena. And then this morning I was just kind of, scanning the feeds and seeing and this app came across my my desktop, and I looked at it, I'm like, whoa. And then I looked at it a little deeper and I went, whoa, again, because not only does it look really pretty, it's got some really interesting functionality. So it's called Rethink. And there's a free version in the Play Store, but there's also a $1.99 version, and that's the one I bought and installed, partially because I didn't know that there was a free version. I don't know if the free version is ad supported or not, but you can look at that. I'm sure you guys will figure it out. But so what Rethink does is Rethink is basically a task list application, but it utilizes triggers to trigger your notifications as to when to do the tasks. And what's interesting is that, the standard triggers that we're aware of are like date and time based. So listen, I need to finish that report for work by 5 o'clock on Friday or I'm screwed. Let me get it done. So we all know about that. But what Rethink also adds in, it adds in the ability to add triggers based off of places. So when you walk into Safeway or Stop and Shop, it gets a task that says buy milk. Really interesting. You could do it by people. So when, let's say, Jason texts me, it then can do a trigger, ask Jason about the thing about the show. And
oh, that's really cool.
Really, really cool. And it also can do triggers, and this is the really interesting one. Triggers based off Wi-Fi networks. So if you are constantly jumping from your home network to your work network to a school network, the moment I walked into here into the brick house at Twit, when I connected to the network, it could do a trigger going record AAA because it knows that I'm here and I'm on that network.
Oh, right.
That's really cool. So here, let me dive in.
Awesome.
Let me dive in and I'll show you how it works. So here we are. We're on my phone. Let me lower my brightness for you so you can see it a little better. That's too dark. I'm sorry.
There you
go.
That's perfect.
Okay, so we hit Rethink. Really nice, clean design, kind of white background, and you see that it's got these kind of little menu areas. So up here is to get to the settings by the gear, and then down here it shows me the number of tasks I currently have, which are 2. The tasks appear here, the name of the task, and then also what its triggers are. And I just tapped on that, I didn't mean to. What its triggers are. So this one is time-based and person-based. And then down here, there's like half the plus sign, and that's where you can add a new task. So I'm going to add a new task, and it just says what. All right,
What?
fine.
Huh? What? What you want?
And so I'm gonna say buy milk. All right. So I need to do that, and then you just tap this little thing, and it rotates, and then it says, okay, what triggers do you want to use? And I can use time, location, contact, or network. So I'm gonna do a location. I'm going to tap that, hypothetically. All right. And so now it gives me a map. Now, this is my only criticism is that you can't actually enter in a location. You've got to go find it, which is somewhat annoying. So, like, if that's the only, like, they're so close with it.
Yeah. They'll refine that.
But so I can say, let's say I want to do it at Walnut Park. So I can say that. And so then I'm going to zoom in. So I'm going to add it. Please select the location. I have to find it on a map. Dang it. I wasn't used to being in Petaluma. All right, so there we go. I'm going to choose the Open Door Christian Church. That's where I'm going to buy my milk. Why is this working? Demo fail. Anyway, well, hypothetically, you can add a location. But you can also add make it via time. And here you can do your time selection. You can also do it by contact, and it shows all my contacts. And you can do it by network, and it shows me all the various networks I have and that sort of thing. So I'm just going to do it for the sake of doing the demo for time. And we'll just say, we'll do it tomorrow. There you go. And now it's in there, and it's saved. And so now it appears with my other ones. So if I want to go in and edit one, I can go see, record AA. See, I've got this at 5:30 at 2013, April 2nd, also with Jason Howell. And that's pretty much it. There's a pretty good settings pane where you can set how to order them. You can hide done tasks, or you can display them. You can sync with your calendar. You can edit the notifications. There's a snooze. You can set the trigger for location check frequency, because I know sometimes that can be battery draining or not. So they give you some good controls around it. It gives a notification pane alarm when you've got something. You can also have it vibrate or ring. So really cool, interesting thing. Really, the only hiccup is on that location base, finding the place. But given that concept, it's a really interesting concept, and really curious to see where they take it. So Rethink. It's worth giving an approach if you want a new and different way to think about doing tasks, as opposed to just making them time-based, as opposed to people. The people one I find really interesting, because I can't tell you how many times where I'm like, oh, I got to ask him about that thing, and then I forget. Right?
Totally.
So when they call you or text you, it says, hey, ask them about that thing. And so, so that's a great application of it. So $1.99 in the Google Play Store.
It's under 100 installs right now.
Yeah.
The $1.99 version. So it's brand new.
Yep. So, and it's going to be huge in India tomorrow.
Mark Ron's words.
Seriously.
They're going to be so efficient in India. All right, cool. So that is Rethink. And John, I have your app installed on a tablet here. So why don't you go ahead and talk about it, and I'll attempt to keep up. Follow along.
Okay, well, I wanted an app that was kind of engadgety. So like we like gadgets, but we like them even more when people actually like build them themselves, like do it yourself projects and so on. So I found the app for Instructables, which is it's developed by Autodesk. So it's a tap directly into the Instructables community. So you can see there, you can see the various projects that people are building, a lot of them are technology, but they don't necessarily have to be. So you'll see, say Arduino kits, and you'll see 3D printers, but you'll also see things like a little purple purse is something that I was seeing when I was browsing just here. So and of course, if you tap into something, you'll get the instructions as to how to do it. So including photos if the person was thoughtful enough to attach them. So you can if you're looking how to build something, in many cases from scratch or close to it, that's one way to do it. One of the nice things about the Android app, actually, there's a couple of nice things about it. Is I suppose first is that it's a very good Android citizen. It feels like an Android app should, in the modern era with all the hollow user interface and all tapping into all kinds of features, but also, you can actually create Instructables from the app. There's actually, if you sign in with your Instructables account, you can actually snap photos, type in notes, and things like that. So if you want to, you can actually build the entire thing. Say you're sitting at a workshop and you actually want to show people here's step 1, step 2, step 3. You can actually take photos with your phone and create it as you're going along and actually building it yourself. So there's other things too, and there don't seem to be many contests going right now, but they do actually have a contest section. So you can actually see, enter a contest for pie making, for example, and things like that. They had something relating to Pi Day, and just lots of little bits like that. So it's this great thing if you've ever wanted to know how to do something, you can just go to the Instructables app and odds are there's somebody who's probably told you how to do it. So it's a simple app, but I really kind of like it because it's got a really cool feel. So
yeah, and it's a wealth of knowledge. Obviously, the Instructables kind of database of projects is so huge, and it's a great way to get access to it. And then pulling it up on a tablet, for instance, that's a really kind of handy way to pull up a how-to walkthrough complete with pictures. Sometimes maybe even more convenient than having it on your computer screen or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that.
You can actually have the instructions while you're sitting at a table, as opposed to having to run back over to your computer and then run back to the table to finish it. So you know exactly what you're doing right or wrong.
Yep, absolutely. So. That's great. That's awesome. I love it.
Love Instructables.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Cool. And that is free as well, right? I think.
Yep, that's right. So you can just go straight. But make sure you get the Autodesk version. I think there's a couple of apps that also have the Instructables name in it. So you'll know you've got the right one if you see the one from Autodesk with the yellow robot.
Autodesk does cool stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really.
Definitely.
Autodesk has a lot of really cool kind of artsy approached apps, and they're always really well designed and a lot of fun to use.
Can I get a quick redo?
Oh, Ron figured something out.
I was doing it wrong. It was my bad. So the location stuff in Rethink, Chad. So here I am. I zoomed into San Francisco where there's actually things and stores. But basically, so here I am at Market Street and Church Street, and those people in San Francisco might know that this is a Safeway. So I can tap right there, and it puts a marker, and then I can control the radius of that marker up here. So I can zoom in and say, okay, so if I walk in a radius of that marker, then trigger the alert, and that way you find your buildings.
If I'm in the bread aisle.
Exactly. So this particular marker is within 39 meters of the entrance of Safeway. Yeah, so you could even go down to the based on how good your GPS signal is. So,
right.
So there you go.
Awesome.
So.
That was a good addendum.
Yep.
We wanted to see how that worked.
There you go.
And finally, Gina, you have, I thought this was great, and I have it installed as well, so I'll keep up. I'll try to keep up as well.
All right, so I'm feeling a little bit like a hypocrite because I have said in the past that I'm not big on launcher apps. I don't want to. I generally, I reviewed a bunch of launchers when I was at Lifehacker, and at some point I was just like, I don't want to have to learn a whole new behavior. I'm just using the standard home button. I'm not looking at launchers ever again. But then a couple episodes, I featured Home Flip, which is kind of an application launcher. I stopped using Home Flip because it was getting in the way, that the swipe gesture was getting in the way. When I was trying to do something else, Home Flip would activate. So my new launcher, I'm getting sucked back into launchers. My new launcher love is a launcher called SwipePad, and that's my pick tonight, SwipePad. So this is what I love about SwipePad. It doesn't replace your home button or your home launcher. It's an easy way to get to a dozen apps very quickly and easily. So I like to keep my home screen pretty empty. I don't like to keep a ton of shortcuts on my home screen. I like to have it empty. I have a couple of widgets that are there, but I don't like to have a bunch of icons. I think this is like one of the best things about Android versus iOS is that you don't have to have every icon of everything that you have on your home screen. But I also don't like activating the applications button and flipping through pages of apps to get to the things that I need to do. I basically do maybe half a dozen to a dozen things on my phone a lot, all the time. I text my wife, I check in on Foursquare. There's certain things I do a lot. And this is what SwipePad lets you do. It's super, super, super fast. So the idea with SwipePad is that you choose a gesture. It's configurable. I just use the default, which is to swipe in from the top right side of your screen. And it shows you a pad with a list of what they call portals. So I think there's 12 portals by default, although, Jason, you're on a tablet, so there's probably more portals there.
No, I think it is 12, and you can buy more.
And you can buy more.
If you need to expand it, yeah.
So you swipe in, and when you have your portals configured, you swipe in, you put your finger on the portal, the thing you want to launch, which can be an application shortcut or other things we'll talk about in a second, and you release, and it launches that thing really quickly.
Oh, I think I held down, so I was looking.
Oh, you must have held down one that wasn't quite configured. So if you're configuring your portals, if you have an empty portal, you can hover over it, and then to configure it, you say, okay, I want this to be an application. I want this to be a shortcut. And you can do things like quick dial or a quick text message. So if I want to, launch a compose, a text message to Jason, I can do that as well. And that, that's something I do. Well, I don't text you, Jason, a lot on my phone, but there's certain people who I text a lot, right? Yeah. So that's really useful. So what I love about this is that you can just take the actions that you perform on your phone a lot, drop them in these portals, and then when you want to do something, you just swipe in and you release and it launches. It's super, super fast way to switch apps. It doesn't replace your home screen, like I said, which I really like. And it's not a crazy new behavior. It's a little bit of a new behavior, but it's not like, oh, how do I do this with this launcher again? SwipePad itself, it's called the Hyperspace Launcher. It's free. You can buy add-ons that let you do more stuff. So like you just said, Jason, you can buy like the More Space SwipePad add-on, which is 99 cents. There's Widget Pad, which lets you launch widgets from a SwipePad. Dynamic pads for dialers and other contacts. Those are extras. For now, I've just been using the free SwipePad, which I really like. It's super configurable. You can change where you swipe in from, and it's just I found to be extremely, extremely fast way to switch between common actions on your phone. So yeah, that's basically it. So did you like the way that works, Jason?
Yeah, no, and calling it a launcher, like it is a launcher, but it's not the launcher in the sense that everybody's used to hearing when they hear, a launcher, a thing that completely changes the look of your home screen and reorganizes everything and has its own unique thing. This is almost like an additional like pop-out launcher for the side of your screen for whatever app you happen to be using.
Cool. Right. It's a better applications drawer for me, honestly. It's a configurable, better applications drawer.
Have your really useful, the apps that you use all the time on the side, then you don't have to back out of the app that you're in, go over to them or go into the multitasking window. It's just you always have them swipeable from whatever corner of the screen. I think it's great.
And there just aren't enough spots on the dock. That number 12, I think, is a good 12. That's actually more than I need. I only need about 6 to 8. But for people that have 12 things that they do on their phone a lot, it's perfect.
Well, some people like to, the more the better. It's like I just want to put all my apps there. I'm sure there's somebody that would love to do that. Yeah. But no, it's great and free. There you go. Well, free to start off, and it does look like you get plenty of spots to start off with there initially. So that is a great arena. We have Clean Master, Rethink, Instructables, and SwipePad. A good kind of cross section of different types of apps here. Go to place your vote. And I'm talking to you, India. Go to aaapoll.com/103, aaapoll.com/103, and let us know which of these apps is your favorite. I always like to check the early results because they're always really close.
And they are. Look at that.
And they
Very
are.
close.
This could go any way so far. All right, cool. What's up?
At least until India wakes up.
Until India wakes up. Yeah. Then
Go any
and,
way.
and my boys in Mumbai are going to come and take care of it.
All right. Awesome stuff. I think that's a show. What do you think?
I think it is too.
Yeah?
Yep.
I think I'm now exhausted. No, this is a great show. We had lots of great stories, good apps in the arena, and an excellent guest host. Really stoked to have you on, John Fingus from Engadget. Really great having you on the show.
Yeah, I had a really fun time, actually. I'd love to do this again.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Absolutely.
we'll definitely be inviting you back. This is your chance to kind of plug, I don't know, whatever you have going on, either at Engadget or personally, or whatever you want to plug. It's up to you. Go for it.
All right. Well, I suppose the Engadget's probably the main thing. I tend to write profusely there. So, some people actually joke that half the posts are mine at times, just because it's like, well, that's what I do. I've been writing for a long time, so I'd like to think I'm fairly good at it. But but see, other than that, there's not. Actually, that's kind of my main thing. I suppose there's
What's your Twitter ID?
My Twitter handle is John Fingus, like JONFINGAS.
That
so
makes
if you want
that makes all too much sense.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. It's pretty easy to remember.
Right on. Well, John, it's been a pleasure having you on the show, and we'll definitely be in touch and bring you back on again sometime.
All right, great. Glad to hear it.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Cool. Gina, what you got going on?
We just launched a new homepage for ThinkUp, which is a project
right.
I work on, an open source project. Go to thinkup.com. We're actually going to be launching really simple, easy sign up so people don't have to wrangle with PHP files and MySQL databases and install it on their own web server. We'll do it for you. We're in the process of working on that service right now, but you can get your name on the waiting list right there. You just enter your email address and your Twitter account, and you'll be in. You'll be on the list. Of course, I co-host This Week in Google with Jeff Jarvis and Leo Laporte here on the Twit Network, and that airs on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Pacific time. So you should come join us tomorrow if you're watching the show now.
Yes, you should. Awesome stuff, Gina. Thank you. And Ron, what's new with you?
If you want to see what's all the rage in India, you can go find me at about.me/RonXO, or you can find links to my Twitter, my Google Plus, and Facebook, and all stuff like that. And by day, I work on the comic books at Image Comics, so go to imagecomics.com or follow them on Twitter at Image Comics to check out some of the cool stuff like The Walking Dead and Saga and Manhattan Projects and East of West. Doing good stuff.
And the Walking Dead Dead Yourself app.
The Walking Dead Dead Yourself app, yep. Yeah. The finale was just this past week. It was a big week for The Walking Dead.
I haven't watched
it was
it yet.
very cool.
No spoilers.
Yeah, if you can't live without the Walking Dead TV show, go read the comic book. Every month you get your fix. So
boom.
Yep.
The dead lives on in comic form. I have a good idea what you might be plugging, Chad.
Yeah, I have just started today a brand new show. It's actually an old show called OMG Craft. It's now on the Twit Network, and today it's completely renovated, completely new. We'll be publishing the episode in a few hours.
Exciting.
So go ahead and head on over. So if you're downloading this, it'll be out already. Head on over to twit.tv/OMGcraft for a brand new Twit show. I hope that you guys are excited.
Hey, congratulations.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Do you know what I'm doing tonight, Chad?
Playing
I'm going
Minecraft.
home, I'm just pressing refresh.
Oh, good.
Waiting for it.
Good.
Waiting for it.
You're not expecting a system update on your device. This is a close second.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. The new set is going to be worth. Is
the
definitely
new
gonna
set
be
is
worth,
actually here, and it's awesome.
It's worth it. Yeah.
Oh. What? Oh, I'm sorry. It's in
in a
outer
different
space.
dimension. Yeah.
I was obviously high yesterday when they were.
It's in Minecraft.
All right. I've just shushed. All right. You can find me at about.me/Jason Howell. Check out my musical journey at yellowgoldmusic.com, which I need to update. That's it for this week. Thank you so much for joining us. It was a great show. Once again, voicemail. You can leave us a voicemail at 347-SHOW-AAA. You can send us an email or a video mail. Attach a link to your email, then send it to aaa@twit.tv. Find the show on Twitter. We are at Android Show. You can find our show notes. We post everything, the entire thing that we do the show from, at twit.tv/AAA, as well as our past episodes there, iTunes, YouTube, all that stuff. Finally, you can catch us live every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific, live.twit.tv. That's it for this week. We'll see you next week on another episode of All About Android.